going to put a disclaimer on this sermon before we get it started. I don't care whose religion you are or what religion you believe in. This is not about that. This is about some facts as far as what was asked in Bible study earlier in the week. So no nasty emails. Last week, Pastor Jessica had a question about God and other gods. The question was, Allah, Buddha, and God one and the same? Let's hope we can answer some of that this morning real quick. First, let's look at the other gods. Buddha. Buddha is a person who has achieved the spiritual state of Buddha. The word Buddha literally means the awakened one. Someone who has no ignorance and can see the universe as it really is. People who have achieved this state can be called a Buddha. There are many Buddhas, and no one has the right to say, I am the one and only Buddha. The religion of Buddhism takes its teaching from spiritual guidance. It holds that everything in the universe is linked and related, but it is to ourselves that we must ultimately answer. If we harm another person, we are harming ourselves, because everything is linked. There is also where the idea of karma comes into play. What we give out, we shall receive, and vice versa. Siddha Gautama, an Indian prince, is considered the original teacher of Buddhism. So Buddha is not a god, he was a man. And now Allah. Allah is the standard Arabic word for God. While the term is best known in the West for its use by Muslims as a reference to God, it is used by Arabs of all Abrahamic faiths, including Messiah Jews, Baas, and Eastern Orthodox Christians. In reference to God, the term was also used by pagan Meccans as a reference to the Creator, God, possibly the supreme deity of pre-Islamic Arabia. So does that mean that God and Allah are the same thing? Kinda. Allah was human. God came down in the form of Jesus as human. But God has no form, as we will find out. God has no form. So we don't know what God looks like. The human representation of God is Jesus Christ. In 1 Corinthians 8:6, it says, But to us there is but one God, the Father, of whom all are things, and we in him, and one Lord Jesus Christ, by whom all things, and we by him. In Deuteronomy 6:4 it says, Hear, O Israel, the Lord our God is one Lord. Allah was the name of one of the gods worshipped by local pagan religions. Allah's last prophet was Muhammad. Muhammad was not a god or divine in any sense, but he was a man, the final prophet, the messenger through whom Allah revealed his will. Muslims revere Muhammad, but they do not worship him. Everything and everyone depends on Allah. All Muslims, whatever their race, belong to one community. What he's saying is that Allah revealed his scriptures to Muhammad the same way God revealed his scriptures to Jesus Christ. So in a way, they're kind of related, and you would think that if a God that created all mankind could speak in every other language. So no one's to say that, and no one can prove that what we worship, and we're not talking the human part of this, Jesus Christ. We're talking if God created all mankind, God can speak in every language. So it would be logical for different races to worship what they feel is the entity of God, just like we do. When they talk about Muslim religion, they talk about the Prophet Muhammad like we talk about Jesus Christ. So to get to the answer, is Allah the same as God? Depends who it is you're worshiping. We worship God in the Christian Catholic faith. The Muslims worship Allah. The Meccans worship Allah. So there shouldn't be any fighting about whose God is whose, because every God is the same for all.
God is everybody.
And the prophets go by religion. Muhammad goes for a Muslim as Jesus Christ goes for us. So that kind of settles that. God is everybody's. He's all-knowing, all-powerful. So there shouldn't be any more fights over which book is which and which book is better than the other book. If you're Muslim, and I challenge the Christians who have a problem with the Quran to pick one up and read it. And I challenge the Muslims who have a problem with Christianity, pick up a Bible and read it. You can't argue and debate about something if you haven't read it. So what did God mean in Exodus 23? Thou shalt not have no other gods before me. The simple answer is it means that we are not allowed anything or anyone to take the place of God in our lives. Remember what happened when Moses came off Mount Sinai with the tablets. Read with me as we read Exodus 32. Chapter 1 through 30. And I'll be reading from the King James. And when the people saw that Moses delayed to come down out of the mount, and the people gathered themselves together unto Aaron, and said unto him, Up, make us gods, which shall go before us. For this Moses, the man that brought this up out of the island, that brought us up out of the land of Egypt, we want not what is become of him. And Aaron said unto them, Break off the golden earrings which are in the ears of your wives, of your sons, and of your daughters, and bring them unto me. And all the people broke off the golden earrings which were in their ears, and brought them unto Aaron. And he received them at their hand, and fashioned it with a graving tool, after he had made it a molten calf. And they said, These by thy gods, O Israel, which brought up thee out of the land of Egypt. And when Aaron saw it, he built an altar before it. And Aaron made proclamation